My next guest is a champion of the Constitution, and that means he's no fan of undeclared wars, just like his son, Senator Rand Paul, from whom we heard earlier. Here to give his reaction to the president's speech tonight, Texas Republican Congressman Ron Paul, coming to us from a rally in North Carolina. Congressman Paul, welcome here. Did the president address to your satisfaction the constitutional problems of him deciding on his own unilaterally to send troops over to Libya and not to ask for a declaration of war from the Congress as the Constitution requires? Congressman
Judge,
Paul, you got us?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't quite get your last sentence, which was the key sentence, if you don't mind.
Did the president satisfy you that he has the power to start a war without going to the Congress first?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, this is my beef, and this is the reason why I introduced a resolution even before he even got around to doing it and saying, don't do it. You're not supposed to do it. If you do impose it, not only are you doing it unconstitutionally, it's unjust as well, and that it is an act of war when you impose a no-fly zone. So by going to the UN is a real insult. The idea that the UN can give the authority, but not the U.S. Congress and not even consult with the U.S. Congress, I think this is a horrible situation. Unfortunately, we have been drifting into wars now ever since World War II. It's time the American people woke up and made sure that their representatives in Washington don't go along with this. So hopefully we can introduce a resolution to defund this thing. And I mean, even Obama doesn't seem to know exactly what he wants to do, but it looks like he wants us to have some responsibility. At the same time, he wants to turn over some of the direction to another country. It doesn't make any sense at all.
I know you're not back in Washington, that you're out speaking to a lot of people. I see some wonderful people from Campaign for Liberty right behind you, Congressman Paul. But do you think that enough members of Congress share your view that the president treated the Congress as if it were a potted plant, to quote your fellow Texan, Senator John Cornyn, that they will actually do something about it? Will there be a vote on Congressman Amash's resolution to defund the war, or will there just be some speeches and all this will go away and the president gets to bomb and put troops in harm's way to his heart's content?
If it has to be brought up under normal procedures, no, it's probably not going to come up, and it probably wouldn't pass. If it's a privileged resolution on the War Powers Resolution, they'll have to bring it up. But I don't think you can do that until after 60 days to make them vote on it or make a decision. So, no, I don't think much is happening. But, you know, we have a continuing resolution coming up. Right. And I've talked to a few people on this that we should work on the continuing resolution and just say defund it. That could happen quicker. And then they have to have the continuing resolution. So if we could put that amendment in there, this might slow things up. But unfortunately, there's too much of a precedent for the president making these decisions. I think that's where the real crime is. So, yes, the executive branch and our presidents overstep, but Congress understeps. Congress is too often giving up their prerogatives and accepting what the executive branch does.
Did the president satisfy you in his speech tonight, Congressman Paul, that he has a goal, that he has an objective, that it's realistic, and that we'll know when the goal is met?
No, there's no way, because the way we're going in there, we don't know who the enemy is. It's an undeclared war. We don't know how long we're staying. So it's impossible for him to do it. Even if he stated it, it wouldn't mean a whole lot because of the conditions. If he all of a sudden says, well, our goal is to assassinate Gaddafi, you know, that still doesn't solve the problems, and he's not going to say that. He's leaving that up in the air because he knows it's against federal law that you're not supposed to go out and assassinate foreign leaders. And yet he goes and thinks you can start a war without even talking to the Congress. So it doesn't really add up.
What is the realistic expectation of real anger on the part of the Congress from Republicans and Democrats? I don't know if you heard it, but shortly before you came on, Congressman Charlie Rangel was here. He agrees with everything you're saying about the president overstepping his bounds and violating the Constitution. If Charlie Rangel and Dennis Kucinich agree with Ron Paul and Rand Paul, couldn't we have a broad consensus in the Congress to stop this war and stop it now?
Well, you'd think maybe it was a hint about our coalition, to get out of Afghanistan after 10 years, but we only had 93 votes on that.
Right.
So, no, I mean, you've heard some of the Republicans in leadership position, they say we need to know more, but many of them are criticizing the president for not going in soon enough.
Got it.
So a lot of Republicans will be there. So we have a ways to go, but we're making progress. The people I've been talking to, especially here at North Carolina State, there was a large agreement with what I'm talking about with Libya.
Congressman Paul, thanks very much for joining us.